every month, on a Friday afternoon, when good Tel Aviv citizens go to have their afternoon siesta, and of all the days in the week, Friday afternoon is the most sacred, and people are legitimately shouted out for making a noise. If you come near the ZOA house, which is in the heart of Tel Aviv, you're apt to hear something like this. I don't know whether you consider that disturbing the peace, but the audience who comes here regularly, who packs the auditorium here, doesn't consider it disturbing the peace at all, because they're aficionados, you might say, of jazz in Israel and jazz anywhere. I don't yet know whether there's any difference, jazz in Israel and jazz elsewhere. Maybe we're going to find something out about that in this program. But in any case, the boys who come here in the afternoon are a regular jazz group who mostly play here in the afternoons for the love of it, but they're the best jazz musicians in the country. And having said that, I'll ask them to introduce themselves, tell us who they are and what they play. First, the leader of the group.
Mel Keller, I play saxophone and clarinet.
Alex Weiss, bass.
Danny Gottfried playing piano.
And?
Mel Leifman, drums.
Well, as a perceptive listener may gather, we've got two American accents, two non-American accents, and both the Mels, Mel Leifman and Mel Keller, come from the States. Mel, just a few words about your own background. This is Mel Keller.
Well, I came to Israel in 1951, and since then I've spent almost all my time working at Kol Yisrael, the Israel Broadcasting Service, first as a clarinetist in the symphony orchestra, and now as the producer of the jazz programs recorded and with the quartet.
Mel Leifman?
Well, I've been here for 2 years, working musically with Mel's group. Well, for my main living, I'm a silversmith, and so I spend most of my time.
Well, let's come to the pianist, Danny. And you're a sabra?
Yeah, I was born in Israel.
And
same way like Mel, something in common. I played classical music, finished the academy, and only from the army time, when I was in the army, only from that time I began to play jazz. And so I came to Jerusalem to study at the university, and we met, Mel and I came to the group. It was the way.
Alex Weiss?
I came in the country in 49. I studied in Italian music in Conservatorio Verdi, Milano. And I started playing in nightclubs and arranging for Kol Israel, writing for different films, music, background music. And now I'm with the group with Mel.
What are you going to start off with this afternoon?
We're going to start off with a sort of modern jazz opus called Scrapple from the Apple.
concentrate mostly on Tel Aviv only?
No, we're performing in kibbutzim too.
What kind of kibbutzim?
Shomer HaTzair and all kind of kibbutzim. They are very enthusiastic about jazz.
Must be something pretty new for them, is it?
It's not so new. They are old jazz fans. But I never got in touch with jazz musician in person.
And how was the contact made?
We just played, and that made all the contact.
But no, what I mean is, how did you get in touch with the kibbutzim, or how did they get in touch with you? What made them think of it?
First of all, we played in the Haifa Jazz Festival, and a few friends of Mer from a kibbutz called Mishmar Haemek came over, and they liked it very much, so they invited us to the kibbutz.
What did you think when you first went to a kibbutz? What sort of reaction did you
It was
experience?
a little bit unusual for me, but they
received it
they
very well.
received us very well, right?
And Danny, have you ever been on a kibbutz?
I've been in a kibbutz, but not to live there, but
No.
we played together there. It was in Mishmar Emek especially, it was something very unusual. They didn't want to let us go.
And do you feel that they appreciate what you appreciate in it? What I mean is that sometimes musicians feel that there are certain things which they value very much, which the audience doesn't get.
Look, we tried to get them understand what are the main points in jazz. Mel talked about it, and
Yeah.
we showed us examples about every part which builds the building, the whole building of jazz. And so they understood, and they were asking questions, and showed very much interest.
So actually, you in the kibbutzim, it's sort of illustrated lectures, almost.
Exactly. We've also done it in Jerusalem, and we're going to do the same thing in Kiryat Gat, which is a development town, next week.
I want to ask Mel Leisman, the silversmith, something. I don't know whether it's an easy question to answer, not even an easy question to phrase, but the music that springs from various countries, in the end, usually, it has to be, much as it can be universal, it's always based on the actual character, general character of the country itself. The jazz was primarily American, and then when it went to Europe, I assumed that you could tell European jazz from American jazz, couldn't you?
Well, you might be able to recognize individual musicians, but I don't think there's that much difference in, well, I wouldn't know that it's a national jazz style. No.
No, because in that case, the second part of my question falls away. I was going to say, much as there's all this activity to develop a certain style of Israel song, which actually has evolved more or less, I suppose. In playing jazz, do you feel at all that eventually, I don't for a moment suppose now, the character of the country and the people in it can possibly influence a certain way of playing?
Well, it remains to be seen. Jazz is still pretty new in the country, and the country hasn't really had a chance to influence the way we're playing.
I was thinking, for instance, of certain instruments that are used in the Middle East.
Actually, I've more or less been only confined to my own thinking. I haven't done or said anything about it, but I would very much like to sometime do experiments with, for instance, the Arab drum, which is a native Middle Eastern instrument, and possibly with elements of music that are common to, that are characteristic of Israel, using Israeli songs as the basis for arrangements and improvisations. Actually, we haven't done as much as we should, and as much as I'd like to